Look who's with us now, our man Pat Nunley, Baylor Athletics Hall of Famer. Look at him, wide awake and chipper on a Thursday morning. Do we have anything left to talk about that we didn't cover last night in that pregame show?
Well, the game before us went into overtime, which
Yeah.
forced you and me to go into overtime. And we
And we
went
did.
into overtime. And we did.
Yeah. And it's for others to judge, but I think we filled it pretty well, actually.
Well, we had a lot to talk about.
We did.
We had 3 weeks of 3.5 weeks almost of nothing in terms of Baylor basketball. And it was good to just be going again. And, we talked, John, about this tournament. It's a new thing for us. It's just the second year of the tournament, but we didn't really know what to expect. And it took me just a little bit to get back in the groove.
Sure.
But it was cool. Once you got into the arena and you saw how well run this thing was, and there was some real energy around it, it was just good to be playing again. And when in the tournament format, that's real. I mean, that gets my juices going, right? Yeah. It's you're playing now for a championship. They got one under their belts. And John, they played really well. Really well. One of the best games, I think, start to finish that they've played in a while, a couple of months.
I think that's right. And that's a good sign. We weren't sure, you stop. The last game was March 10th. They hadn't played since then. Then you practice. And we sort of weren't sure, if there would be any rust or how they would look in that game last night.
Yeah, really never done that. I mean, they had something like that in the COVID year, but it was different. It was, that team had experienced COVID in a serious way. And so it's not like you just flip a switch and you start playing again. You got to get healthy. And that thing kind of lingered. So we didn't know. This was a new experience. But one thing I was concerned about was whether they had their competitive edge. Because 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, and you go from the gauntlet of the Big 12 to now into a new situation. But they had it. And it didn't take long to figure out. They were playing to win that game.
Yeah. Isn't it impressive? Excuse me. You and I see it all the time with Coach Drew. But, man, postseason, and really even in-season tournaments, he finds a way to get them going in high gear. I think his record now is, 32-14 in postseason tournaments as the Baylor coach.
That's right. I mean, the record speaks for itself. And I remember, John, when Scott Drew was introduced as Baylor's head coach, one thing he said was, we are going to play for and win championships, because there had been a long drought. Just think about pre-conference tournaments. Bears had not won one in a long, long time at that point. And it wasn't long after that what was it? Was it the Paradise Jam?
Paradise Jam, right.
That was their first tournament championship. And that's one of the milestones along the way where I said, okay, this could get really good.
Yeah.
And so that's his attitude, is we're not playing just to play well. We're playing to win championships. And you look back now over the course of his career, he's won a bunch of them. And the biggest one you can possibly win.
And the big one too. That's right. What do you think that is? That's just his competitive drive, isn't it? That really gets his juices flowing when you're in a tournament.
And I think it's cultural. There are a lot of components to the culture of this program, but one of them is championship mentality. And that's why a season like this one that most people would label as being disappointing. There were a lot of really good things that happened, maybe more off the floor than on the floor, but it's disappointing because he has set the bar up here. And up here is Big 12 championships, national championships, pre-conference tournament championships. And when we don't get that, it's disappointing. And, honestly, that's not a bad place to be.
And going for the Triple Crown here for Coach Drew. He has won a national championship, NCAA. He's won an NIT championship, one of 3 coaches that's done that. And now he could become the first to add the crown and make it the Triple Crown. How about that?
Yeah, and that's what they're playing for. And it's not like they've forgotten about everything that's happened up till now, but it is irrelevant. We were talking in the game, John, about how you look at the slate of teams that are participating. Nobody cares what they've done so far. Nobody cares about records. We are aware of those, but all that goes out the window because these are the 8 teams that have been invited to come and play for the college basketball crown. And I think that's really what's driving them. And for a number of these teams, Baylor included, to the extent that everything that's happened thus far has been disappointing, we got new life now. Oklahoma, for example, felt like it should be in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
That doesn't matter anymore. Everybody's playing now for a different. It's a 5-day experience, and everybody's playing for the same thing. And what's happened up till now doesn't matter.
I said this earlier, Pat. You and I are privileged to sit in on scout with the team and be around them pregame. Chapel Scout Eat, and it's a great experience. But to see the game play out like it did last night and think back about what the coaches had told them preparing for the game, like paint points, 38 of those, get that ball in the paint. It was like they executed the game plan as close to perfection as you can last night.
They did. They really did. And that is one of the many reasons I've stayed around as long as I have. That interaction, the Chapel Scout Eat, each component of that is off the charts great. Yeah. The scouting, I just eat that up. And I'm back there taking notes. And you're right. The game plan itself was a winning game plan, but it doesn't matter if you don't execute it. And they did in a number of different ways. But then the Chapel component of it is just inspiring. And that's when we go on these trips with them, that's one of the most enjoyable times that we spend with them is during Chapel.
It was fun to see Tunde have a really big game last night, 19 points. He was the leading scorer for the Bears. He had 6 at halftime. And, man, he came out like his hair was on fire to start the second half, didn't he?
He did. And, when you compare the rosters and you look at their guys and our guys, they don't have a Tunde.
Right.
They just did not. And they didn't have any answer for him. And so I kind of felt like if he was 100% in terms of he was battling a little bit of sickness coming into that game, if he could overcome that, he was going to have a good day. And speaking of scouting report, the way they attacked that zone early anyway was to get somebody at the free throw line, really in the heart of that zone, who could make something happen. And that guy was Tunde. You get it to him there. He can pass it. He can dribble it. He can shoot it from there. He can draw fouls. So they put him in a position where Minnesota was going to have a hard time finding an answer for that. When they did a little more in the second half, Baylor moved him out to the perimeter and I think put Skillings in there, put Ratai in there. But it was a little bit different. But I think what it did was force Minnesota to do something they really didn't want to do because they had no answer for Tunde at the free throw line.
Baylor, one of the aspects, I think we went the whole first half with 1 turnover, right? And finished with just 5.
Yeah. And that's huge. And Minnesota's not a team that really turns you over much.
Yeah.
But because of that, the pace that they played, the halftime score was 31-26.
Yeah.
And so not a lot of that pace was a little more to Minnesota's liking than Baylor's. And so at halftime, no secret, it was, we got to get the ball out into the open floor and run. And at halftime, the Bears had 0 fast break points. They had 9 for the game, all in the second half, but 6 of those fast break points came by the first media timeout in the second half. So that was what they were looking to do. They forced a couple turnovers, scored on those. And the pressure and the physicality that Baylor just imposed on Minnesota, I thought allowed the Bears to separate really quickly in the second half.
And one other aspect that we get to see in scout, and we don't want to give away any trade secrets here, so we'll talk in vague generalities. But they've got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they've got 3 keys every game, and Coach Drew says you get those 3 keys, you're going to win the game. And Baylor did it last night without being specific. They got all 3 of those, and they got the win.
Yeah, and they've done the math. Of course, Coach Drew has done the math on that. And I can't remember, John, what the number is, but it's like above 90% of the time they get those 3 keys, they're going to win the game. You get 2 of those 3 keys, the number goes down to 75 or something. So that's it. And at this stage of the game, at this part of the season, there are no secrets. There really aren't. We don't have any that Minnesota doesn't know about, and vice versa. So it's really just back down to the basics, the fundamentals. You do these 3 things and your chances of winning go through the roof. And, last night was Exhibit A.
tremendously prepared and great execution. I'm looking forward to the Oklahoma game. I said this a little while ago. Think of the 8 teams that are here, and I'm not an odds maker, but there's guys downstairs that do that for a living. But I would think going in, maybe Baylor and Oklahoma would be the teams to beat in this tournament. You think so?
I think so. And, just in the prep that we're doing for the game and the tournament, I think that's the consensus. And I think it's probably Oklahoma number 1, Baylor 1A, probably. So we don't really know, but I haven't looked much at Oklahoma yet. What I have seen, though, is they had the 11th best transfer portal class in the country last year. So this roster that they brought in was a roster that could compete in the SEC and what they felt like would give them a great chance to go to the NCAA tournament. And they're starting with Nigel Pack. And you and I have seen Nigel Pack at work. And this guy's probably 30, 31, 32 years old now. I mean, he's been around forever, but he can go. He is a serious player. And you start with him, and then you bring other guys around. Something else, John, that Minnesota didn't have last night that has really bothered Baylor this year is length. And Oklahoma's got length.
Yeah.
Think about Arizona. Think about Iowa State. Think about some of the Kansas, other teams in the league that have serious length that just we couldn't handle. Think about Arizona in Waco. It's a close game. At the end of that game, the significant difference in what kept Baylor, I thought, from winning that game was that length.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. It was good to see those guys last night, wasn't it, Toby and Kevin Henry, the radio guys for Oklahoma?
Yeah. Well, they told us they missed us.
They did.
I think they really do. I really do miss them. There's a camaraderie among the broadcast teams in the Big 12. And, one day they're there, the next day they're gone to the SEC. But I think that chemistry is still there. And it was genuinely good to see those guys last night.
It really was. So we'll go up against them on Saturday, 12:30 game. We won't have the late night Saturday that we had last night. Man, it got late in a hurry, didn't it?
It did. Yeah, I was looking for a cup of coffee to start the second half.
Right. Okay, you are I'm in my room here at the Cosmopolitan. You're in your room. Your room looks much lighter than mine because you're much closer to the sun. I'm on the 17th floor. Tell everybody what floor you're on.
I'm 57.
The 57th floor.
I can see California from my room.
Oh, that is great. 57th floor. Pretty nice hotel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great hotel. And the whole thing has been great. In the hotel, there is an area on the second floor that is just blocked off for all of the teams in the tournament who are staying here. There's a recovery room for every team. It's really well done. And I'm impressed by that. We didn't know what to expect. And now that we're here, I'm thinking, oh, this is pretty good. Yeah. Let's do this. Yeah.
If you're going to be here, let's win it. Absolutely.
Let's win it. Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time this morning. I appreciate it. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay.
I can't say when, but I'll see you in a little bit.
Yeah. We'll cross paths at some point. We got a down day. Plenty to do, that's not Baylor related, but it's good to be here. This is off to a good start. And I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next.
All right. Hopeful of winning the Triple Crown by the time we leave here. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I'll see you in a little while.
All right. Thank you.